Italian Football Podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Questions from the Italian Football Podcast Patrons, where you, our patrons, decide what the show is about by simply sending in your questions via DM on Patreon. I'm joined as always by Carlo Garganese. We've got 25 questions that we need to breeze through. So let's start with the first question, which has been sent in from Joe Leali, who says, should Italy test out new players against Moldova, seeing as there's nothing to play for with Norway certain to win the group? Well, let's preview the Moldova game, shall we?
Yeah, so Moldova versus Italy, World Cup qualifying Group I, the Zimbru Stadium in Chisinau, Thursday, 13th of November at 8:45 p.m. in the evening. I said 8:45 rather than 20:45 because I wanted to see Nima's reaction. Right, so team news. I'll go through the squad. So the squad is Donnarumma, Vicario, Carnesecchi, and a first call-up for Caprile of Cagliari. He's probably been the best goalkeeper in Serie A this season. Defenders, Bastoni, Bellanova, Buongiorno, Calafiori, Cambiasso, Di Lorenzo, Di Marco, Gabbia, Mancini. Midfielders, Barella, Cristante, Frattesi, Locatelli, Ricci, Tonali. The forwards, Pio Esposito. Moise Kean was originally in, but he's pulled out through injury, so Cambiaghi has come in instead. Orsolini, Politano, Raspadori, Rezzeghi, Scamacca, and Zaccagni. So in addition to Caprile, there's a return for Buongiorno and Samuele Ricci, who haven't been called up since March and June of this year, respectively. Absentees, Chiesa, the first one. Should he be in the squad, Chiesa?
No. Like, come on. Why? Why should he be in the squad?
I think he should be in the squad for the playoffs. I think that we need somebody that we can bring off the bench. We've seen the impact that he's had for Liverpool off the bench this season, which has been outstanding. We need to have that option. Should he be starting? No, because he hasn't played. He's playing like 15, 20 minutes a game. So I would say that maybe you could argue, well, what's the point of calling him up? But then again, you could say, well, this is our last chance before the playoffs. You know, we should be reintegrating him. He hasn't played since, I think, the Euros.
Fair.
So maybe you should reintegrate him. But if you were to reintegrate him, you're only going to be using him for 15, 20 minutes. So, yeah, there's that question. But the big one, Kayode.
Yeah, for me, the big one. Yeah, Michael Kayode and Di Lorenzo being in there. I mean, seriously, I've been on the Michael Kayode train for a couple of years now. And what does he need to do to, like, at least be in the squad? Seriously.
Again, comes to the whole, well, this is our last chance before the playoffs. So if you're not going to call up Kayode now, can you possibly call him up for the first time in March for a big semi-final and final playoffs? I mean, even if he's playing great in the next 6 months, it's still, you know, for any player, bedding them in, having their first game, getting them used to the teammates. So do you know what I mean? So it's almost like, well, this is going to be our squad now. Do you know what I mean? For the playoffs. He's decided this is his squad for the playoffs, and that's that. So I don't know how I feel about that, but Di Lorenzo,
I know how I feel about that. I'm pissed off. I don't understand why Kayode, like, Di Lorenzo isn't getting any younger. He's not getting any better. When is it time to give Kayode a chance? Like, he's played 10 games in a row now. He's been really good. Like, what? This drives me mad.
Yeah, he's started every game. I didn't see the weekend. I don't know if he started, but he started every game this season for Kayode. Kayode had, and I mean, look, I think he's a long throw specialist. So even having that, God, we're going 1980s England, aren't we? Like, having that weapon of a long throw, like, you know, you've got Retzeghi, you've got big strikers if Esposito's on, you know. I mean, use your strengths, play to your strengths, but also mitigate your weaknesses. This is something that I've said. Remove your weaknesses. At the moment, our weaknesses are pretty glaring. They're our fullback. Di Lorenzo and Di Marco cannot defend, so I don't want them at fullback. I want to just eliminate our weaknesses. That's what I want to do, because that's how weaker teams are going to beat us. They're going to target our weak areas. No, it doesn't matter how good we are in other areas of the pitch. Teams are going to play against Italy and they're going to think, right, how can we get at Italy? Well, Di Lorenzo can't defend. He gets done by any player running at him. Let's target Di Lorenzo. Dimarco's not the best defender, and he can't defend the far post. Let's put crosses into the far post. Let's run at him. So I want to eliminate those weaknesses. So that's why I don't want those two playing at fullback. So I would have called him. As for others, I think Scamacca's a strange one. I mean, he's not fit. He's clearly nowhere near match fit. He's only playing some minutes, been stop-start. So Scamacca one's a strange one, I think.
Yeah. And the thing is, he called up Scamacca even without Keane pulling out, which is interesting. And he's got Esposito already there. He's got, it's a strange one. I would have, I would have rather seen Zaniolo, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I think he deserves to be on form.
And Frattesi as well. The guy, how much is he playing for Inter? He's playing what? He's not playing at all. So again, are you calling these? I mean, it seems to me like Gattuso's just decided, right, I want a group, which is fine. I understand. He wants to create a group. He wants to create a group mentality, a bit like Southgate for England. Like, he used to call up players for England that were playing shit for their clubs, but he wanted to create a group. So I get that to an extent. And then I also get that, well, if you're not going to call up Frattesi, who are you going to call up instead of him? And I'm sorry, but we have a crisis at centre midfield, Italy. We do. After Barella and Tonali, honestly, there's if something happens to Barella or Tonali, like if we make the World Cup, for example, and we go to that World Cup, something happens to Barella or Tonali, we're fucked. We're a bit like I compare it to the Juventus situation. Juventus have got Kefren Turam, and then I don't even know Locatelli, but Juventus just get one injury to Turam at centre midfield, and their midfield is suddenly there's just no backups. I think Italy's similar. Like Tonali and Barella are top, but Barella's often tired as well. And then it's like, well, who are the players coming in? They're not, they're not strong enough. And then are we going to be playing a 2 or a 3 as well, which is another debate to be had, which we'll get to. Well, let's get to it now. So the team news: Barella's suspended. Tonali's 1 yellow away from a suspension. So Tonali will definitely play in this game, and probably, surely he'll be rested against Norway, because we can't risk him getting a yellow against Norway and then missing the playoff semi-final. So I think Tonali plays this. As for the probable 11, it's hard to call. We're recording this on Monday. Now, Norway will play just before us. So if they will win as expected, Gattuso, for me, may as well just play the backups, with the exception of Tonali, and just then play his strongest team against Norway, where he can give them a real test against a better opponent and kind of see where we're at, which is what I would do. So he might do that. He might wait as late as possible before confirming the team. So in that case, it's quite difficult. But I think from what we're hearing, he's going to go back to a back 4. So that seems for sure. So for the back 4, we're looking at Donnarumma in goal, Di Lorenzo, Bastoni, then either Calafiori or Mancini, and then Dimarco at left back. That's what we're looking at. Then the question is, does he go 4-4-2/4-2-4, or does he go 4-3-3? Now, based on what he's done before, against the weaker opponents, he's gone 4-2-4. So if he goes 4-2-4 again, then it was probably going to be Tonali and one of Locatelli or Ricci, probably Locatelli, then Politano and Zaccagni as the wide roles. We might go Orsolini on the right. I think Zaccagni will go on the left. Or if he go, and then Esposito and Retegui, I would imagine, in attack. But if he goes 4-3-3, which is what I would do, because I think he needs to pick the team or the formation that he wants to play in the playoffs, I think. He needs to try and get some kind of settled system. Because he's been chopping and changing from 4-2-4 to 4-4-2 to 4-3-3 to 3-5-2. But he needs to get a settled system and try and play it in both games, in my opinion. And if you only win 1-0 instead of 3-0, it doesn't matter, because Norway have won the group. So he could go 4-3-3, and in which case the midfield 3 will probably be Locatelli, Tonali, Frattesi, I think. And then up front, well, it'll be Retegui in the middle, and then I would imagine Zaccagni on the left and either Politano or Orsolini on the right. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think 4-4-2. I think 4-3-3 is, I don't know, 4-3-3 with it is Moldova. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. I'd probably, if he wants to play a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, I think he should go for that against Moldova. I mean, now's the time to do it. It's a weaker opposition. You've secured a playoff spot. You've got basically less than a snowball's chance in hell to win the group. Go with your 4-3-3. Go with your 4-2-3-1. Do what you want to do, and what you believe in, and try to instill that already now.
Yeah,
so I'd probably go with a 4-3-3, and given Barella's suspended, Locatelli, Tonali, Fratesi, Zaccagni, Politano, or Orsolini, and then either Pio Esposito or Scamacca up front, or play Raspadori as a false 9 to get Fratesi to do these runs from deep. I mean, something like that. But the back defense, the back four, Bastoni, Calafiori, Di Marco, and then Di Lorenzo. Those are the ones that are going to play. Or if you play Cambiaso on the right.
Yeah, I didn't mention Cambiaso actually, and also Spinazzola's injured as well, so that's why he's not in. Odds: Moldova 33-1, Italy 1-40, and draw 12-1. Predictions.
Now, Italy are going to win comfortably, 2-3-0. Look, this is just this is the preliminary until the actual playoffs. Like that's where we are.
It's horrible games. These are like it's just like just play the playoffs now kind of thing. Like we're just waiting. Horrible.
Exactly.
It's like being on death row. Not that I know. Not that I know what it's like to be on death row. But, yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So there we go.
There we go.
And if you want to, do you want to do the whole?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And this is. Thank you for reminding me. If this is a 10-minute, 12-minute preview, which is free for everyone listening who isn't a patron. This is a preview of the weekly Q&A episode that we do every week for patrons and YouTube members, where they send in their questions and we answer them and discuss them. And you can become a member on Patreon on patreon.com/TIFP, $3.99 a month, or YouTube memberships. Go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/@ItaFootPod, become a member and subscribe, and you can you can become a member there, and you get all the content we do without ads, and you can send in questions as well. Right. Next question, William Paganini. Ciao, Nima and Carlo. My question for the pod is to rank every Serie A team based on the goalkeeper. An example would be Parma in 20th because Suzuki is shit. You can also include backup keepers in rankings, can boost a lower team. That's what he said, not I did. I kind of agree with him. I think Suzuki is insane.
Well, he made an awful mistake on that first goal by Salamakers.
The thing with Suzuki that drives me crazy is he can make these insanely good saves, but then he can barely save a shot. Like he makes these stupid mistakes, which are just
He's very inconsistent.
Very inconsistent. He makes howlers that make him look like you talk about players not even looking like they played football. He looks like, when you were a kid and you
my biggest issue with him is, as I have with it, is his decision making. Like he has some very
that's
strange.
One thing. You talk about players looking like they can't play football. He looks like, when you were a kid and you played and you put the worst player on the pitch in the goal because he would do the least amount of harm. That's how I feel.
Or left back.
Right or left back in the day. Okay, so let's do a ranking on the Serie A based on the goalkeepers. Let's start with 20.
I would say start with the best because it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard to go from worst. Who's the best goalkeeper in Serie A? I think we go Svila.
All right then. Svilar, and then Milinkovic-Savic. And
if we're basing it on this season, I'd probably go Caprile. Depends if you're going on this season or over on form.
Let's do it just on this season. Let's go Caprile in goal, Vanja Milinkovic-Savic.
So I go Svila. Svila. I would have Sevilla first.
Yeah.
Caprile second. Milinkovic-Savic third. I think Magnon's been
Caprile first. I'd have Milinkovic-Savic second, Svila third. But I mean, I think
Magnon's been good. I'd have him fourth.
Magnon and Provedel fourth, fifth.
Yeah, Provedel's got the highest save percentage in Serie A this season, so I think I would have him. I think Muric has been pretty good.
I think he's been very good.
Yeah.
Agree with that.
So I'd probably have him. I'd have him next.
Seventh.
Karnaseki. I think we have to have Karnaseki in there. I know he made a mistake. He made a mistake at the weekend, but
the seventh Karnaseki, eighth.
Sommer.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, he's declined, but he's still been okay. You know,
yeah, but there's
the Juventus game.
Yeah. Di Gregorio, I would have above.
Di Gregorio way down. He's been terrible this season.
Well, Sommer is doing Handanovic stuff towards the end, so I'd probably have Sommer, Di Gregorio in the same category, 8, 9.
Okay.
Then 10th.
I'm looking at the goalkeeper.
Skorupski.
Skorupski. Yeah, we can't have him any lower than that. I'd have Skorupski above Sommer and Di Gregorio. So that's our top 10, right?
Yeah. And then 11.
Then it's difficult. I don't really see
I would have
any.
Okoye in 11. Somewhere there.
Yeah.
I'd have. Let's see who else.
Then the rest, I think it's take your pick. Like I'm not going to go through the rest now. Let's just pick our worst ones because the rest are all kind of the same. I think De Gea has been bad this season. He was very bad at the weekend. I think that Suzuki, of course.
Absolutely.
He's had a few decent games. Suzuki. He had one amazing game. I remember.
I have to say, Alberto's been pretty okay, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. But he's been pretty okay.
Yeah. I think. Listen, I think we've done the main ones there. The rest are kind of like all muchness, really.
But there is a player in Torino who was a goalkeeper, Pagliari, who did
Pagliari. Yes. Well, yes, because we were going to speak about this on Monday, and we forgot about it, and you reminded me. So that's a good prompt to remind me. Yes, the story of it's Alberto, isn't it? Is it Alberto? Yeah, Alberto Pagliari of Torino. It's a fascinating story. So this guy is basically the Jamie Vardy of Italian football. He's played in all of the top 5 divisions of Italian football. He was a youth player at Milan, and then got sold to Serie D, and he's worked his way up from Serie D to Serie C, both divisions, Serie B, and now at the age of 33, playing in Serie A. He had a fantastic performance for Torino against Juventus in the derby. And it's just an amazing story. You don't get many stories like this anymore. Players kind of in the past it used to happen a lot more. You used to get players that would play like it's sort of like in English football. They'd play in like the Conference League, non-league football. Then they go 4th division, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. Used to get it. It used to happen. Now, very, very rare. So for it to happen in Italian football, you've got to remember in Italian football, it's Serie D is amateur. I mean, that's where Milan Futuro is now this season. It's an incredible story, and he was really, really, really good. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a lovely story, and this is why we love football. Right, next question comes in from Gianmarco the Modest. Said, "Ciao guys, Nima, how do you have such a perfect English accent having grown up in Sweden? Carlo, if I ever visit Bedford from Chicago, first thing I'm doing is visiting your cake shop. Main question, if Allegri manages to win the Scudetto this year, will he have proven himself to be cut from the same cloth as the best of the best, like Ancelotti, Capello, and others? Thanks, guys." Well, I attended a British school all my life in Gothenburg. So that's why. So English is
international school?
my mother tongue. No, it was a British school. We followed a British curriculum. The teachers were from all
they actually have British schools in Sweden. And I mean, I've heard of international schools.
This was the English school in Gothenburg. That's where Glenn Hussein, when he came back from Liverpool, he put his kids there, and that's how I got to know him.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's why. As for Allegri, I think he already. Look, in order for him to become an Ancelotti Capello, I think he needs to win that Champions League. I think in terms of domestically in the Serie A, I think he has proven himself. I think he is unbelievable what he's done domestically in Italy.
In terms of numbers and the fact that he's done it at 2 clubs, he's up there domestically. Of course, then you can break it down and analyse, or, the quality of the competition in the 2010s was obviously not what it was when these other names like, Sacchi, Ancelotti, Capello, Trapattoni, when they achieved what they achieved. But yeah, based on the numbers for sure. But yeah, I agree with you overall. Champions League, yeah. But if he does it with a 3rd club, that's very rare achievement to do it at the, to do it 3 times, let's say. And obviously Milan, it would be a 2nd time. That's rare.
Jonas S says, Roma are currently in top 4, and I've started to see more and more jinxing fools talking about Roma being a true Scudetto contender. However, if Roma actually manages to keep up this form and these results, at what point and at what circumstances would you actually deem Roma a genuine contender? And I swear to whatever deity you hold dear, if any of you say Roma are already there, I will issue a jinx fatwa against you. Keep up the great work. That's a really good question. We kind of addressed it a little bit.
Well, yeah, I think we answered the question on Monday, so I don't.
No, but
I don't
for me,
think...
I'll tell you when. Look, if we reach February, and Roma are still thereabouts, if they lead, if they are tied top, then I think we have to start taking them seriously. We really have to do that.
Yeah. If by March they're still there, yes, we can take them seriously. Absolutely.
Next question. André Barilaro says, Real Madrid have a midfield of Tchouaméni, Valverde, Ceballos, Bellingham, Arda Güler, Mastantuono, Diaz, and Camavinga. 8 players. If Marotta was to win the lottery and invest all his summer winnings into Inter, how many dinner and lunch dates would it take for Zanetti to convince Nico Paz to join Inter? Is there even a tiny slimmer of chance that Nico Paz could end up at Inter? No, because Real Madrid are not relinquishing control of him unless someone pays like 100 million euros. And why would they?
There's his value. Just forget about Real Madrid. His value is too high for an Italian team to afford. That's it. Tottenham had a bid of over 70 million. And also bear in mind that even if Como decides to sell him, which they won't because they've got an agreement with Real Madrid, Como only take 50% of the transfer fee. So if they were to sell him for, say, 70 million, they would only get 35 of that. So and then Inter can't even afford anywhere close to 70, which is what they rejected from Tottenham. So yeah, listen, it's not going to happen. Just forget about it.
Next question. Nick C says, good day, Nima and Carlo Burgundy. This question is in light of the Bedford Bakers' incorrect labeling of Pio Esposito as a diver. Who are some of the biggest divers and floppers in recent memory? I submit Theo Hernandez, Juan Cuadrado, Luis Suarez, Yerry Mina, and Neymar. I'd also like to point out that Serie A need a major overhaul to their VAR protocol and usage. Well, the latter point, I think everyone agrees with.
Yeah,
but
I think those are the main ones. I would add Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane, massive diver, but more in the kind of the point I was making about Pio, about kind of buying free kicks but overdoing it a little bit. Sterling was really bad.
Yes, Sterling.
Really bad. Like what he did in the Euros 2020.
Sterling is unbelievable.
In the semi-final against Denmark.
Yes. Sterling is, but the thing with Sterling is he's actually good at it. He's good at diving. Like he can mask it so well that it doesn't look like it. It's an art form.
It's mad that some of the best divers in the world now are English, where in the past it was always like the English
dark arts. The English dark arts.
English would look down on the divers.
We need to come up with a term for that. The English catenaccio.
English used to be too. Yeah, English used to be too honest before, and he used to count against them. They didn't have that furbo that the Italians had, and they weren't furbo. And now, now it's like the English are the best at diving. It's like the world is upside down.
Yeah, it really is. No, but but Sterling is good at it. Like I respect the grift. Like I respect it. Next question. Jack Hacken says, hi, Nima and Carlo. Should Inter try to sign Mike Mignon on a free for next season? Doesn't seem likely to extend with Milan. Has all the right qualities to be a top goalkeeper for Inter or anyone. Sommer is getting older and it shows. And Martinez, I have clear doubts about. Both are good right now, but not indispensable top goalkeepers who can't be knocked off their perch. Or do you have someone else in mind? I would love if they get, I mean, it's not going to happen. It's zero chance of that happening. But if Marotta waves some sort of a magic wand and signs Mike Mignon on a free transfer.
That would, all hell would break loose if that happened after Çalhanoğlu and then obviously Donnarumma, but especially Çalhanoğlu. I mean, that would be quite amusing. I think he's going to go to Chelsea though. But Juventus, apparently, Juventus like him. Juventus are interested. Yeah. Juventus, I think, are going to get rid of Di Gregorio. And Juventus there has been some, I know that they are kind of monitoring, but I think he'll go to Chelsea. Contract's already done. All they need to do is just move over that contract. That's all they need to do. So the negotiations on the personal side are already done. So for me, it makes sense that Chelsea need a goalkeeper. So for me, it makes sense he goes to Chelsea.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I agree with you on that. I don't think it'll happen, but it would be hilarious because all hell would break loose. Kunal Soni says, do you like the Swiss model Champions League? I feel the previous one was okay, and now it's too many games and another qualifier for teams 9-24 to get to round of 16. Also, what are your thoughts on the UEFA Nations League? I think it's useless. During 2021, if Italy didn't have to play those meaningless games, they would have focused more on the World Cup qualifying regardless. What's the point of Portugal winning the Nations League twice? Who cares? I agree with the Nations League. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Get rid of it. As for the Swiss model, I like it. I was tired of the old Champions League format. It felt like a transport. Like it was just basically waiting for the knockout stages and the actual games to begin. I actually like the Swiss model. I think it's spiced it up. It's made it more interesting. And the games mean more. I like the Swiss model.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly better, but it still doesn't solve the whole problem of just the way football's become now. And I mean, I'm sorry, but the Champions League this season, just have a look. There's six Premier League teams in the top 12, top 10, second, fourth, sixth, eighth, 10th, 12th. 6 in the top 12 are Premier League teams. And if you have a look at the results, it's just pretty much every game, it's Premier League teams are just winning 5 and 6, 4, 5, 6 goals every game. So yeah, it's slightly better, but at the end of the day, it's not changing the fact that, you know, the way that football is today and how lopsided it is. As for the Nations League, the thing I don't like about the Nations League is better than friendlies. It's better than friendlies. But what I don't like about the Nations League and what is also flawed about it is if you go to the semi-final or the final of the Nations League, it then means you get put in. First of all, you start your World Cup qualifiers later, which means like a bit almost like Italy. Yeah. Had to start two. There were already two games behind Norway. They already went into that first game against Norway, like 6 points behind, and the goal difference of like minus 11 behind. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just no way of having any kind of fair competition. It's just a farce. And then also, you get put in a smaller group with less teams, which means that whereas if you get knocked out in the first round, you get put in a bigger group with more teams, which means if you're a better team, you've got more chance of turning things around. If you have one bad result, like Italy have had, then all of a sudden you're out because you haven't got enough time to turn it around. So I think that's flawed as well. I mean, there's lots of things flawed with the whole World Cup qualifying. It's totally flawed.
Agreed. Excuse me. Mike Rosanova writes, question for the pod, was Davide Calabria really that bad of a player? I thought he wasn't that bad under Pioli and saw his qualities in that Champions League run, especially against PSG when he pocketed Mbappe. Was it a mistake letting him go, and do you think he was mismanaged? I would argue the same goes with Alessio Romagnoli. I thought Emerson was a huge downgrade and that Allegri could have got another gear out of Calabria and the likes of Romagnoli. Lord knows Milan could use more Italians. Keep up the great work. And he's got a second question. What do you think of Marco Nasti? I thought this guy showed a lot of promise coming out of Milan's youth team. Felt like he played well for Cosenza when he got called up for Milan's senior team under the first discount Italian coach Fonseca. I thought he showed some real composure and striker's instinct during the Man City game along with Colombo. Were those two victims of the poor structure and systems in place to successfully transition promising youth to senior Serie A level talent, or just two trash strikers? Maybe they just didn't deserve the Serie B C apprenticeship. Maybe they didn't serve their apprenticeship in Serie B, Serie C long enough. Let me know what you think. Forza Milan, vai Cosenza Calcio, and shout out to Allegri, the bringer of hope. I don't think Calabria and Romagnoli were ever good enough for Milan. I'm sorry.
Calabria, when he first burst onto the scene, was a bit of a joke, and then he had a really big improvement at some point that kind of gave everyone hope that maybe he might become something, and then he kind of fell away again. I think the fact that he's playing for Panathinaikos at the age of 28 in the Greek league, I think that probably tells you what you need to know, probably. As for Romagnoli, like, he was highly rated, wasn't he, when he was coming through, but he was just too slow. Yeah. Unfortunately, for modern football, you can't be a defender and be that slow. And that was always his issue. He always read the game pretty well. Good in the air, good in the duels, but just too slow, unfortunately. One-on-one, he'd get done because he can't move. He can't move. The guy literally can't move.
No, I think Lazio is where he should be. He's a Laziale. Let him stay there. Like, I'm happy with that. As for Marco Nasti and Colombo, I think maybe that's exactly it. That, maybe it's a combination of all of the above. They were talents, but then they weren't treated properly, and then they never really excelled.
I can't speak for Nasti, but I think with Colombo, I can't speak for Milan, but I don't think Colombo's is anything down to the whole not giving Italian players a chance or necessarily the public, because he's had more than enough chances, Colombo. He's played for multiple clubs and played a lot as well. It's not like he hasn't played. He has. He just hasn't done it. And he has
an unbelievable shot on him, though. I'll tell you that much.
He just hasn't done it. So, I mean, I don't think. I mean, that there probably is a deeper debate to have about the whole kind of the way that we train and develop our youngsters, but I don't think it's been because of a lack of opportunities with Colombo. That makes sense. With you on that.
Marco Maganucco said, should Inter pull a Lukaku 2.0 and go back for Onana? Sommer is clearly on the decline, and who knows what will happen to Pep Martinez. It seems like an opportunity worth exploring. I know he was shit for United, but that club kills all players. No, God in heaven, no. I don't want to see Onana at Inter. Leave that alone. Move on, please.
No. Yeah, I feel like you got your rewards out of that deal. Yeah. Like, don't go back on it now.
Yes. And then we've got a question from our new social media manager, Aleksandar Delic. Do you want to introduce it? It's a would you rather game. So we're going to ask each other 3 would you rather questions.
Basically, we're going to give 2 options. We're going to say, would you rather this or would you rather that? But both options kind of have a catch to them, if you know what I mean. There's kind of no perfect option. Okay, so do you want me? I'll do Nima first.
You can start.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Nima, right, 3 questions. So first of all, would you rather Italy win the 2026 World Cup but don't qualify for the next 2 World Cups, or Italy make the final of all the next 3 World Cups but win none of them?
I'd rather they win, without a doubt. That matters the most. Easy.
I agree, because I've always had this debate with my friends about, like, Italy won Euro 2020 but didn't qualify for 3 World Cups, and I've always said, would you rather
2, Carlo, calm down, 2.
Okay,
it's
2.
Not 3.
Yeah, I'm already accepted that it's happened. Okay, so Italy didn't qualify for the 2018 and 2022 World Cups, but they won in between the Euros. Would you have rather we qualified for all 3 of those tournaments, and maybe even got to a final, or even got to 3 finals, but not win any of them?
No, I'd rather they win.
I would have rather us win it. I would.
Yeah,
as the precedent's been in between, I would. Okay. Question number 2. Would you rather
Jesus.
Israel buy Inter Milan and win 10 Champions Leagues in a row, or you buy Inter Milan and the club goes bankrupt and folds?
I'd rather the second option, without a doubt. Not even close. Not even close.
That was God gave you the impossible question there. Okay, question 3. I couldn't think of another football.
I'd rather the world end before that happening.
Forza Comet, as you say.
Yeah, Forza Comet. Forza 10 Comets.
Okay, I couldn't think of another football one here, so this is a bit shit, this one. Would you rather never drink or smoke and live to 100, or party every day and die at 60?
I think 60. Rather burn up than fade away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Live fast, die young.
Die young, make a beautiful corpse. Yeah. Right. I got 3 for you. The first one, would you rather Italy win the 2026 World Cup and Juventus be relegated to Serie B, or Juventus win the Champions League this season and Italy not win the World Cup?
Oh, gosh. That is so hard. Juventus win the Champions League and what? Italy don't qualify?
Yeah. Well, not win the World Cup, just won't win the World Cup for the next 3 times, let's say.
Oh,
if you will win the Champions League this season. So rather Italy win the World Cup in 26 and Juventus to Serie B, or Juventus win the Champions League this season and Italy don't qualify for the World Cup this next World Cup.
Oh, good. You know what? Honestly, I'm so done with club football. And honestly, I really like, of course I want Juventus to do well, but honestly, like, it's not like 20 years ago where it would ruin my weekend if Juventus lost or if Juventus did badly, or I would be depressed going into the summer if Juventus had just had a terrible season, or if I'd be kind of like, oh look, well, there's no hope for Juventus going forward. It would like affect me. Now, honestly, I couldn't care less. I've got to the kind of, like we said about Antonio Conte on the Monday show, I've got to the indifferent stage now with club football, with not just with Juventus, with Italian teams. I'm just like, whatever. Yeah. Like, that's, like same. I said, it's like having
to a certain extent, same.
I
feel that way about the top of the Serie A. For me, the relegation in Serie B is what I'm still really interested in.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's like, I think I said on Monday, it's like having a serial killer son. You'll still love your son, but you still at the back of your mind, you think, well, okay, he's a serial killer, but he's still my son. I still love him. Like, so, I'll always be there for Serie A, but I mean,
I know what you mean. Yes,
you know what I mean. So basically, my answer to your question is probably Italy win the World Cup, because I still have that love for the Italy national team. I still feel national team football is pure, and I still, even with Italy not qualified, I still have that. Still gives me a buzz. It still gives me that. I've still got hope that Italy can do well, even if we're not producing the players. So, yeah, I think it's Italy win the World Cup.
Would you rather Kenan Yildiz fulfill his potential but is sold to Real Madrid for 100 million next summer, or Yildiz to fulfill maybe 60-70% of his potential and stay at Juve for the rest of his career?
Oh, gosh. I think, again, listen, with the club football, I think we've got to that stage now where, unfortunately, we have to be realistic, and that we're not going to keep our best players unless they're Italian. You've got more chance of keeping them. So I would say go for the 100 million, because if he's close to 100 million, it means he's probably had a great season, or he's had some great seasons.
What I mean, fulfill his potential.
And he's fulfilled his potential. And it means Juventus possibly might have even won a Scudetto, maybe. Then I get relegated. So yeah, I think fulfill his potential.
Who would you rather win the Serie A this season, Milan or Inter?
For you, Inter, but just for the whole story and for then it's Allegri, isn't it?
Yeah.
then I'm gonna get shit. That's you rubbing your hands. Yeah. Then I'm gonna get shit from people like you about Allegri saying like I think for the good of Serie A and for the good of the pod, I'm gonna say Milan, because I think it would be a good story and it would be someone different. It'd be a bit more exciting. Inter won it the season before last. I just think, I think Milan would make it more interesting. But I love all over else. I'd like to see Roma win it. Won't happen.
I mean, that would be the best thing from an objective.
It won't happen, but I would like to see Roma win it.
Right. Next question. Aristodimos Kazi says, can you explain a little bit what happened with Mjällby? I know it's not the Swedish podcast here, football podcast here, but if you want to just be a little bit, speak about that, like what happened and they won the league. Is that by pure luck, or are they indeed that good? Are they doing something new? No, they're a very well-run club. with very, very tight budgets. It's a small place. And they had a fantastic season. They blew everyone out of the water. I mean, there was no doubt about who was going to win the Swedish league. And that's the thing about the Swedish league, that the quality is nowhere near where it once was. It's the 20th best league in Europe, but the people love it. The attendances are high, the interest is high. It's still very local rooted. Fans love their clubs. So Swedish football is, from a fan point experience, I think it is well worth. The quality makes your eyeballs bleed. It's absolutely horrible. It can barely be called football. It's not the same sport. Faruq Hassan says, who are your picks for the best and worst transfers signing of the season so far? Well, I think the best signing for me is Bonny, as I said on Monday. I think Bonny's been the best.
Mm-hmm. Worst, I think, has to be Openda for the money. 43 million, and has no goals, no assists, and looks like someone who's never kicked a football in his life.
Yeah, I'd probably go with that as well. Maty Still Mill says, quick two-parter. First, what do you think of Buongiorno's ceiling? I was very excited when Napoli picked him up, viewing as a potential defensive cornerstone for years to come, a proper replacement for Kim Min-jae. Even built like him, 6'3" with wide shoulder. He was good last year, but has some very poor performances this season. He's nearly injured 50% of the time. What level do you see him getting to? And two, Carlo, I just got back from Naples and my sfogliatelle addiction has been properly refueled. Is it worth it to find a recipe and try to make my own at home? I am a decent home baker, or should I just leave it to you and the rest of the pros?
It's hard. It's very difficult to do your own, honestly. It's very, very difficult. Worth a try. I mean, why not? Give it a try, but it's very hard. I don't know if you're based in England, Maty, but if you are,
I think he is.
He is. Yeah, come to the cake shop one day when you're down south. Let them send a message to us. Send us a DM. Say you're about. Come and I'll show you. I can give you we can show you when we're making them. Give us a bit of notice, and we can make some the day that you come. Yeah. But it is difficult. It is difficult. It's if you're doing it the traditional way, it's very, very time consuming, long process. And so I would say give it a try, but it's very hard.
Yeah. As for Buongiorno, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I think we speak about this on Monday as well. Yeah. He's not looked match fit. He's been out of rhythm, which I think you've used, like just timing off. And the way that he's defending crosses for someone, like you say, 6'3", has not been defending crosses well. That bizarre own goal that he scored, and just again on the weekend, could just be lack of rhythm and lack of, playing consistently, in out all the time. It's a bit concerning, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. And I was I had some really hype hopes for him. And I really thought that if anyone could help him reach his potential, it'd be Conte. But right now, everything looks, it's concerning. It's very concerning.
We just had some quote. Just had a quote here from Roberto Souza, former Napoli. He's got big links to Napoli, who says that he thinks that the Napoli players were trying to get Antonio Conte sacked. That was the performance, given the performance that they played on Sunday. So I don't know.
Yeah. Magnus Kaufman. Can you guys talk a little bit about Arthur Atta of Udinese? He seems like a good midfielder to me. Could he be an option for bigger Italian clubs in the future? I like him, but I'm not entirely convinced by him. I think he lacks a bit of explosive pace and decision making.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
I think he's got a good little burst away from players. I think that's
the first 1 or 2 yards, but he can't maintain it, and he drops off, and I think his decision making sometimes leaves a little bit
I think his issue is a bit inconsistent, gives the ball away by trying too many things and stuff, but I think the talent is there. There's definitely a talent in there. Whether it can be nurtured, I I think he's an interesting player to watch, Atta. I think Udinese producing quite a few of these kind of players at the moment that they can be developed right.
Agreed.
We've got a lot of those kind of players.
Agreed. Joshua Capelli says, if Italy stick with the 4-4-2, you'd assume they pick at least 5 players who can play in the front two. Who are you picking? And would you pick Nicolo Tresoldi from Club Brugge if he wants to play for Italy?
Well, they're trying to pick him, or they've already started talking with him. So, yeah, I haven't seen enough of him. I know he was really. I saw the highlights. He was really good against Barcelona last week, and he scored. But yeah, who would be the 5? I think Retegui, Keane, Esposito, those 3 for sure.
Keane, Esposito, Retegui, Raspadori.
Yeah, Raspadori is a super sub kind of player. And then
the 5th one.
I think you then pick a player that can play as a wide forward because it gives you the extra choice if you wanted to go to a
Orsolini, then why not?
Yeah, Orsolini.
Or Chiesa.
Yeah, Chiesa, yeah.
James says, hi guys, lighthearted question. Is there a Prem face expression or superstition that you secretly agree with or believe in? For instance, when rating keepers, one metric I live by is he's got a mistake in him meter, which I think is a very important consideration for goalkeepers and can be measured by the amount of times the keeper has shocked you at their incompetence.
I hate that word, that phrase. He's got a mistake in him. Every goalkeeper has a mistake in him. Every goalkeeper makes mistakes. Everyone. The question is, how many mistakes do they make? Every single goalkeeper has a mistake in him. Donnarumma's got a mistake in him. Courtois' got a mistake in him. Everyone has. So I definitely wouldn't agree with that expression. But
no, for me it's the Brexit penalties. Like, I'm sorry, yeah. I'm fully on board with. I hate the hop skip nonsense. Brexit penalties for the win.
I think now it's
2020.
I think now in 2025 it's he's too slow for the Premier League. Like, he's too slow for football.
Premier League proven.
Oh no. But I believe that in 2025 you can't be slow and make it in football, not just the Premier League. And that has always been a hallmark of the Prem face for 30, 40 years. It was like, if you're slow, you're shit at football, even though you had some of the best players like a Pirlo. But nowadays, yeah, if you're slow, very difficult now.
Agreed. Adamo Principe says, why did Juve buy Joao Mario? Tudor wasn't fond of him. Spalletti doesn't seem too keen on him. I'm getting the same vibes around him like I got around Tim Villa. Well, I remember what I told on this pod when Portuguese journalists were asking me if Juve have lost their minds when they bought him. So you tell me.
Tim Weah looks like Pete Cafu compared to Joao Mario right now. Yeah, I mean, to be fair to me, he has barely played. They've barely given him a chance. I mean, look at the number of minutes he's got. So it's difficult to be two, but then that's obviously because they've seen things in training they don't like of him. You don't like, you know, when people say, oh, but he didn't get, like, if you're not getting game time, you're generally probably not good enough. In most cases, unless you're playing for Antonio Conte. Listen, you can ask that about their entire market. This is just a complete disaster. Juventus' Mercato. It was Comoli was the one in charge of it. Yeah. Not a good start for Comoli.
New. Next question. Vince Van Patten says, hi, Neiman Carlo. Is it just me or is Inter's paid transfer strategy produced more flops in recent years?
I just said that Vince Van Patten sounds like a Confederate Army general in the American Civil War.
General, yeah. Is it just me or has Inter's paid transfer strategy produced more flops in recent years than is typical for a club of their quality? Obviously, getting players like Thuram, Chala, Sommer on free transfer helps, but I'm just going to list all the players Inter have paid for that have never come close to securing a consistent starting spot. Luis Henrique, 23 million. Diouf, 20 million. Fratesi, 31 million. Arnautovic, 10 million. Palacios, 6 million. Aslani, 15 million. Buchanan, 7 million. Gosens, 27 million. Correa, 27 million. Maybe I'm cherry picking here, but Marotta's made some brilliant signings, but spending 150 million on flops over the course of a few years makes a big negative impact. Is this more than typical, or is it just part of being a football club?
Part of being a football club.
Part of being a football club, but the problem is that when you don't have a lot of money, these mistakes become so much more costly.
I'm sorry,
so much more difficult to recover.
Go through every single football club, every single summer, and have a look at the successes and failures. Every single club, even the clubs that have an amazing summer market, there will always be every summer 2 or 3 that won't work out, and then and that's just how it is in football. This summer, Inter have had 4 big success stories, which is unbelievable. Even though they've had 2 failures. They've had 2 failures in Luis Enrique and Juve, but they've had Akanji, big success. They've had, Pio, they brought him back, but I'm still sort of counting it. Boni and Sucic, big successes. If every single summer you're getting 3 or 4 big successes from your Mercato, I would say even 2. If you're getting 2 big successes every summer Mercato, even if you've had 2 or 3 other failures, you've had a great Mercato. Honestly, you're always going to get some successes, some failures. Then the question is, do they have a sell-on fee? Can you sell them on? Did you make a loss? That's the question. Listen, overall, I'm sorry, but this whole kind of, has Marotta done as well as we think it? I'm sorry. Come on, man.
No, but the fact of the matter is, I think it's this. When it's part of being a big football club, but given that Italian football does not have a lot of money, and you waste 100 million on flops, it becomes much more painful and much more.
You've got to weigh that against the successes, though. You've got to weigh that against successes, and what's the overall plus minus? I'm sorry, but it's not even a debate what Marotta's done with what he's worked with overall. It's not even a debate. If you
throw in Acerbi, Mkhitaryan as free transfers, and Dumfries and so on, it's Di Marco, Bastoni, Barella, absolutely.
Yeah, and then the profits, you've got to look at not just how much has he spent, how much money has he made on sales, profits on sales.
Yeah, Onana is a masterclass.
Lukaku for 100 million, and all these kind of things. That's what you've got to weigh it up overall. You're always going to make bad investments. You're always going to have failures because that's just part of the mercato. Too many variables. What makes a player successful or not?
Yep. Great. Jacob Dunn says, "Hi guys, hope you're both well. I was wondering if you could give us what you thought were some of the biggest transfer missed opportunities in Serie A. As I read that Moratti's biggest regret was missing out on Cantona. I think Milan missing out on Tevez because Barbara Berlusconi was dating Aleksandar Pato is just mental.
Juventus and Marco Verratti, I would say.
Speaking of Marotta and missing signings.
Yeah. Well, that was him paying a penny pincher. That was not wanting to spend 500,000 extra and then you lose him.
Yeah. Ahmed Khaled says, what do you think of a swap similar to the one that Nima was advocating before? Raspadori for Fratesi when Inzaghi was there, but this time Fratesi for Lookman. Fratesi needs to play in a team that plays fast transitions. I think he could fit Atalanta and for Inter. Lookman should eventually arrive for Inter to play a 3-4-2-1 and high press with someone who can dribble. Bonni or Thuram can always play on the other wing, or Lookman can play as a trequartista. What do you reckon? Is it feasible, or are there going to be any cash added for Lookman? I don't think there's going to be a Fratesi Lookman swap, and I think at this point I wouldn't do it either. But if there is a possibility to swap Fratesi for Locatelli, I would do that.
Yeah. I think Fratesi, I don't know with Fratesi. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
He's done well for it. He's only really done well for Italy, hasn't he? Yeah, Fratesi, yeah.
And one last question. It's about the under-17 World Cup. Giuseppe Di Benedetto says, hope all is well. My question for the pod is related to the current under-17 World Cup. Have you seen the knockout stage format for determining matchups? They rank all the group winners, runner-ups, and third place from 1 to 12 based on group stage performance, and then they sort of get seeded that way, so the best performing teams play the worst of the third place teams. I kind of like this. What are your thoughts? Should they do this at senior level World Cup too? Thank you for answering my questions.
I'm not exactly sure how they do that ranking. I assume it's by points, and then goal difference, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. And I guess it also stops teams that won their first 2 matches from then, just sacking the third game as well. It means they have to it gives them something. It's a bit like the Swiss model Champions League, like it gives you something to play for in the third game as well. So it's not, it's a decent idea. It's a decent idea, I think. I've watched a bit of Italy under 17 World Cup actually, and they've looked pretty good.
That Inacio kid.
Inacio's been great. Yeah,
he looks amazing.
Yeah, and Brazil are trying to steal him from us, so we need to make sure we don't let them steal them.
Right. That's all the questions we have time for this week. We've got 4 or 5 more questions that we'll keep for next week.
I've still got another 5-10 minutes. If you want
you do? Okay.
Yeah, if you want to finish them.
Cool.
Let's finish them. Go on, yeah.
Cool. Okay.
We can be quick. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll do that. I'll ask. Jordan Maddox says, "Hi guys, hope all is well. 3 questions. When Italy either don't qualify or get eliminated from a tournament, I'm just wondering if Carlo then supports England. Second question: do you guys recommend any ground to visit that would be lower down the pyramid in Italy, like Carlo with his burning passion on the terraces of Real Bedford? Also, I have an interest in teams lower down the pyramid with Palermo, Avellino, and Provercelli on my list. Do you guys have any you could add? And finally, what do we feel will happen with Juve Stabia? Is there any developments? I feel for the fans, and do we feel they will be relegated down to Serie D?" Let's start with the first question. Do you support anyone? Do you support England after Italy get knocked out?
I don't support them, but I cheer on my English friends, if you know what I mean. Like I feel happy for my friends, like if they do well. That's how I would put it. I also cheer on Sweden for and Iran for Nima as well. I'm kind of like that. I'm kind of like I want my friends' teams to do well.
Same. You know that's why I want Uruguay and Morocco to do well, and also all Balkan teams as well because of that. But other than that, I'm not really for me.
It's also this is my business mind. It's also good for business if England do well. So I'm kind of like, and if they do bad, then the town's going to get smashed up. So that's not good. So yeah.
As for lower down the pyramid in Italy stadiums, Palermo is a great shout. I really, really like I keep saying Catania, even though that stadium is not a very nice stadium. But just the
Pino Zaccaria, Foggia, go there, but bring bodyguards with you and
I like Dino Manuzzi, the stadium. What are they called? I forgot their names. Oh God, not Ascoli. Oh God, I know the stadium, but I've forgotten the name of the club.
Ancona?
No, black and white striped club. Dino Manuzzi is the name of the stadium.
Cesena.
Thank you. That's a cool stadium. I like. And the Juve Stabia situation, we have to wait and see because it's an absolute mess. I mean, Serie D right now was the least.
What's happening with Juve Stabia?
Well, they've been basically taken over by the Camorra. That's not even an exaggeration. The mafia, the organized crime has taken over so bad that there's talk of wounding them up entirely. They're running everything from ticketing to that's the allegation, at least. It's really, really sad. It's really, really sad. Next question. Nate S. asked, why have Milan struggled against smaller sides for years now? It seems to be a recurring issue regardless of coaching changes and squad rebuild, but it's the most infuriating thing for fans. I think it's a truth with a modification there, as we say in Swedish. I think this season it's different because now they finally have everything in place and they're rebuilding. The Cremonese game, Milan didn't deserve to lose that. I mean, that was an anomaly. Parma, Pisa may be a bit different, but Cremonese, they didn't.
Usually, if a top team struggles against a small team, it's usually because they struggle to break down a low block, and that can usually be because they're lacking in the offensive department, or they're lacking quality in the final third, or they're just unable to. But if you actually watch the Milan games in those 3 games, they scored 2 against Pisa. They scored 2 against Parma. They should have scored at least 2 against Cremonese. So in these specific games, I don't think it was down to a lack of not being able to score or create. It was actually more the other way. But in general, yes. Like if you look at Como are struggling against small teams because they can't break down a low block.
No,
so that's usually the problem. That's usually the reason. It's because you're lacking a bit of quality in attack. But yeah, not. I don't think that's the reason so far this season. It's only 3 games, so I mean, yeah, we don't want to make a conclusion just yet.
Yeah, agreed. Sanat says, "Hi Carlo and Nima. What are the 3 worst sides to feature in Serie A over the past decade? Would you base your ranking on points only or other criteria like style of play, preparedness, stadium, etc.? Also, there could be multiple worst sides from the same season." And he's listed a bunch of teams: Chievo, 18-19, Salernitana, Pescara, Monza, Sampdoria, Spal, Parma, Benevento, Venezia, Hellas Verona. For me, Carpi were dreadful. Carpi was one of the, 15-16. Carpi were awful.
Benevento,
yeah, and Chievo were dreadful that season.
I have to say though, Monza last season were a joke.
Yeah,
they were an absolute joke of a team.
Yeah.
They'd basically given up by Christmas as well.
Yeah, they had.
Like Galliani just decided to sell players in January. He'd given up by the January transfer market. Just felt right, we'll just sell them anyway. We're going to go down.
Yeah. No, they're doing all right now in Serie B, to be fair. Nick, final question. Jamie Drum. Hope you're well. My question is, with Roberto Mancini now out of a job for a period of time now, do you think in Europe at the elite level he's viewed as a coach that's past his best? Or is it just the case that a right opening hasn't materialized at one of the elite clubs for him in this period? If he does get a job in the future, do you think it will be with the Champions League team or a team below, like a Europa League level? Where do you envisage his next club to be?
So he wants to come back. He really wants to come back. He rejected, I think, Nottingham Forest, which I don't blame him for, because I don't think anybody wants to work with that guy. Yeah, he rejected, I think, was it Qatar? I think he rejected somewhere in Qatar. Was it Al Sadd or someone? Oh, no, not was it Al Sadd? I can't remember. But anyway, yeah. I don't know.
I think with him, unfortunately, I think he's now gone down that route of Lippi, where it's just the national teams. I think the top...
But he wants a club team, though.
I know he wants one, but I don't think he's going to get one.
I think the problem with Mancini is this. He wants to be in control of everything. And the way that football clubs are run nowadays, modern football clubs, they don't run the old Ferguson way where there's one figure that's just kind of... It can happen. I mean, Klopp at Liverpool, but even at Klopp, when he was at Liverpool, they had a whole structure and they had a great... it's rare. So like someone was suggesting Atalanta, he would have been... I mean, I think stylistically, he would have been great for Atalanta, potentially. But he's not going to go there because he's not going to be able to... He's not going to be able to run the they won't let him run the transfer market. They do have a scouting and analytics department. The whole nutrition and medical department have their own. That he wouldn't be able to control everything. So how many clubs, especially with the American way, the American model is, and it's just, yeah, I think that's his biggest issue right now.
But I just don't see him. I unfortunately, I kind of rate him, but I just don't see him going to a big Champions League club. I think that era, unfortunately for him, I think it's past. I rate him, but I think he's not. I think he's going to be in national team football now, wandering around like Sven-Goran Eriksson did towards the end of his career. Unfortunately for him, which I think is sad. I think he's a great coach. I think he's still got something to give. But we'll see. Well, that's all the questions you'd sent in this week. Please do remember to send in your questions via DM on Patreon. We'll be back later in the week with a post-match reaction for Italy against Moldova on Thursday night, and on Sunday after Italy have played Norway and the World Cup qualifiers have ended. So again, please do remember to send in your questions. But until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Ciao, ciao.